Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell, and in today's video, we're going to look at business objectives. When we talk business objectives, we're talking about a specific goal that the business is aiming to achieve within a specified period of time. And so, what that does is it helps provide all those within the business with a real sense of direction and purpose, and it helps align the efforts of the employees to work towards a common goal. Now, it's important that objectives are measurable so that the business can determine, or the managers can determine whether an objective has been achieved or not. Because what will happen, the business will implement strategies to work towards the achievement of those objectives. And so having the objectives that are measurable will enable them to determine whether the strategy that they've implemented has been a success or not. Now, objectives help identify and prioritize resources, so time, humans, so the labor, materials, money, those kind of things are required to achieve a specific goal. And so what we're going to do within this video, there's a list of specific objectives that are in our study design, and we're going to go through each one of those. The first objective is to make a profit. So profit is the amount of money left over after expenses have been taken away from the revenue that's been brought into the business. So revenue is the money that comes into the business through the sale of goods and services, whereas expenses are the costs of actually operating the business. So what the business is looking to do is bring in money through the sale of goods and services. They obviously have expenses to make that happen, but they're looking for more money left over after they have paid those expenses. So profits are really important for businesses so they're able to survive and grow and really thrive. And businesses can look to improve their profits by either increasing their revenue, so the money that's coming into the business, minimizing their expenses, trying to reduce those, or doing both if they're fortunate enough to be able to do both. Next is to increase market share. So, market share is the proportion of sales a business has compared to the total sales in the industry. And we express that as a percentage normally. So, if we have a look at the market share for Australian supermarkets, you can see that down the bottom it says that on average, Australians spend $10 to $11 billion per month on groceries. And so, of that money, Woolworths receives approximately 37.4%, while Coles receives slightly less with 28.4, and then it drops to Aldi, IGA, and the other small independent supermarkets. So of all the money that's spent, that 10 to 11 billion, you can see that Woolworths has the largest percentage, then Coles, etc., etc. And so that is what percentage of market share is, and what it is a real measure of competitiveness, because if it's increasing, well, customers are choosing the business over their competitors, and so that's showing that they're doing something right. Now, smaller businesses may find it really difficult to measure market share, but what they can do is try and compare, because they're really only competing in a local market, so they try and compare their sales to those in the local market, whereas larger businesses are obviously operating on a much larger scale, and they will be comparing normally on a national scale and sometimes a global scale in terms of their market share. Another objective is for businesses to try and improve efficiency. So, efficiency is the measure of how well a business is actually using their resources. So, if they can use fewer resources, that could be materials, employees, time, machinery, anything like that, well, it means that they are being more efficient. So, each one of those resources costs the business money. And as a result of using fewer resources, it means they're being more efficient, which means they can make and produce each product, whether it be a good or service, for less. And so by improving efficiency, it can allow the business to get their products to the market quicker. So if they're reducing time, they can get their products to the market quicker than the competitors. It could enable them to reduce costs within the business and therefore improve profits. They could also reduce the amount of waste that they're producing. So they're being more efficient in the amount of resources in terms of materials, minimizing their impact on the environment and also reducing costs. But it can also allow the business to lower their prices if need be. Could be that they want to just keep the money for themselves and improve profits, but it can allow them to lower their prices if they are being more efficient than their competitors, and that can help them make them more competitive. Our next objective is to improve effectiveness. So that's the ability of a business to actually achieve their objectives. Efficiency is looking at the resources that they're using. Effectiveness is looking at their ability to achieve objectives. So being effective can allow the business to produce high quality products, which improves customer satisfaction. It might even improve customer loyalty. So it's really important that they're achieving their objectives. So managers will implement a whole range of strategies for the business to try and achieve those objectives, which leads to greater effectiveness. Now, many businesses will have the objective to fulfill a market need. So, a market need is where there's a gap or problem in the market, a market being where there's a group of people with similar needs or wants, and the business can look to satisfy or solve that particular gap or problem. So, what can happen is identifying market needs really helps a business determine, well, what goods or services they're going to offer the customers, offer their potential customers, and how to position them, how to market them to them so that they can meet the needs of those potential customers and therefore attract those customers. A business that's able to fulfill that need, well, they have a competitive advantage because they're able to attract customers by satisfying the particular need in the market. Now, in order to determine those needs, it's not easy, but market research can help. So, businesses investing in market research to determine where the gaps in the market are, what are the new products that are going to occur in the future in terms of customers wanting new technology, all those kind of things, is trying to solve problems or gaps in the market, which helps fulfill a market need. Now, if we have a look at an example with Tesla meeting a market need, so obviously founded by Elon Musk, they were able to identify a need in the car market for more environmentally friendly and sustainable transportation options. They were not available or widely available at the time, and as a result of meeting that market need, well, it was tough times early days, but far more lucrative times in recent years. You can see an increase from 2021 to 2022 in terms of sales. It's been a 40% increase, and they were able to deliver 1.3 million cars in 2022. And by meeting that market, that's enabled them to be a real leader in that area. Now, obviously, lots of car makers have then followed suit and produced their own electric vehicles or environmentally friendly vehicles. But that was where Tesla was able to meet a real need in the market. Similar to fulfill a market need is to fulfill a social need. And that's where businesses look to satisfy a particular social or community cause. So they're really aiming to meet that need within society to help make the community a better place. Really common objective for a social enterprise is to have this objective. And so fulfilling that social need is aimed at supporting that cause and improve the situation, whatever the cause may be, whether it be environmental, community, some kind of social cause. So again, if we look at an example, we've got Thank You, which was able to meet a social need. So they began, it was founded on the principle of addressing the social need of providing clean water, food, hygiene to globally marginalized communities. So for every product sold, the profits were used or are used towards funding projects that address those needs in developing countries. So funds raised between 2008 till 2022, they've been able to raise $17.5 million that can go towards that particular cause. So you can find out plenty more at thankyou.co. But Thank You was able to meet, or is aiming to meet that social need within the community. And our final objective today is meeting shareholder expectations. So, remembering that shareholders are those that own companies or at least own portion of companies. So, they're often looking for a return on their investment through sharing in profits. And we call those dividends, where part of the profits that the company makes is passed on to the owners, to the shareholders. They're called dividends. And also, they're looking for the value of their shares increasing. We call that capital gains, where the value of the company is increasing and therefore the share price is increasing. That's obviously for a public listed company, but for a private limited company, the value of their shareholding is increasing due to the company performing really well and also its future prospects looking bright. So managers look to implement strategies that will increase the return for their shareholders. They know that they're making decisions on behalf of the shareholders who own the company, and so trying to meet those expectations can help increase that return. Now, many businesses will have different objectives than the ones we listed today, but these are the ones listed in our study design. So, just to recap, business objectives are goals that businesses are aiming to achieve in a specified period of time. And those that are listed in our study design include to make a profit, increase market share, improve efficiency, improve effectiveness, to fulfill a market need, or to fulfill a social need, and to meet shareholder expectations. So to access the questions and activities and help in your VCE journey, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.